Today on Savidge Kitchen, we're going to be conducting a little experiment. A few weeks back, I did a video on how to fat wash bourbon with bacon. Big hit. Everybody that's tried it, in my circle at least, loves it. So I thought I would try again with a different flavor. This time I want to do a coconut infused rye. So I've been doing a little bit of reading on this, and there's two ways to do it. We're going to try both ways because I have a feeling that they're going to impart a slightly different flavor. There's sort of two schools of thought on how to choose a bottle to infuse with another flavor. Some people think that you shouldn't spend a lot of money, just buy whatever's cheap and go that route and infuse, which is fine. I think when it comes to bourbon or ryes, you should choose a bottle that you like to begin with because you're not changing the flavor so dramatically that it's all of a sudden going to make you like that bottle. I think you should choose something that you would drink on its own or you would like in a cocktail on its own. And we're just going to enhance the flavor a touch with something that isn't normally found in the rye. So the bottle that I chose for this coconut infusion is this Lead Slinger Rye. This is a company of combat veterans that got together and started distilling whiskey, bourbon, and rye. Thank you for your service. Also, thank you for this service. And this is real good. I'm not usually a rye drinker. When it's rye on its own. I like rye in a cocktail, but it's rare that I'll just sip rye. Bourbon, different story. But this rye is really good, and it's interesting to me because their marketing is all about being straightforward, a straightforward company with straightforward liquors, and it is, but it almost doesn't do this rye justice. This rye, when you taste it, you can taste, there's like hints of almond in it, and ginger snap cookies. It reminds me of ginger snap cookies. So I'm a fan of this, and I think that infusing it with a coconut flavor is going to be really good. And we're going to make some wild cocktails with this, so stay tuned. Okay, tools that you're going to need. Since we're going to be splitting this into two, I have 2 mason jars. And then for our coconut, one, we're going to do toasted coconut, actual toasted coconut flakes that I just toasted on the stove. And then for our oil wash or fat wash, I just took 2 heaping spoonfuls of organic coconut oil and popped it in the microwave so it's in our liquid form. So why don't we go ahead and divvy this up. You know, there's probably a real precise way to measure this at 50-50, but we're gonna wing it. Enough. Normally I would tell you when you're fat washing or infusing and you have to store something in another bottle, make sure to keep your bottle because at the end of the process you're going to go back into it. In this case we might not because we're going to end up with 2 different spirits, but if they taste relatively the same, we're going back in the same bottle. So I'm going to hold on to this. Let's start with our oil wash. This was a 750 ml bottle. What is that divided by 2, 3, 35, 25? Wow, math. Since we took half of this 750 ml bottle, we are going to take 2 ounces of coconut oil right into the jar, lid on, give this a good shake. So our fat wash, we're going to pop into the freezer. For our infused rye, we're going to take, I don't know, the equivalence of, that's probably 2 tablespoons, maybe 3. I don't know. This is a very scientific experiment. Put that on there. Shake it up. This does not need to go in the freezer. You're going to want to store this in a cool, dark place for 3 to 5 days at least. Same thing. We're going to go into the freezer for 3 to 5 days with this. Technically, this will be ready after the coconut solidifies, but we're going to give these guys even chances. So, see you back here in a week. And we're back. A week has gone by in 2020. That means the entire world has changed. All we're going to worry about right now is our rye whiskey with coconut in it. So I just got the Oil Washed Coconut Rye out of the freezer, and this toasted coconut rye has been sitting in a dark cabinet, both for exactly 7 days now. So I'm going to give this a good shake. I don't know if that's going to help, but feels good. And then same thing with, well, let me give this a less violent shake. So just like my video on how to make fat washed bourbon with bacon, it's the same process here with the coconut oil. So you're going to notice that the oil has frozen in a solid layer on the top. So what we're going to do, oh, that smells really good. It definitely smells like coconut. Wow. Okay. So I've got my 2 containers here that I labeled super fancy. Hope you're enjoying my painter's tape. So I know that which one is which. So this is our coconut oil wash. And I'm just going to take a funnel. I'm going to take cheesecloth and just put that in the middle there. What the cheesecloth does is allows us to filter out the oil, even those tiny particles that might be left that didn't quite float to the top. So here we go. Ooh, it just smells really, really good. And then you've got a frozen coconut oil disc filled with whiskey. Right. And keep in mind, cheesecloth is reusable, so don't throw this away. You can just wash it and use it again. Wow, look at that. It actually looks a bit milky. The oil definitely changed the color of this a little bit. Okay, so let's try our toasted coconut now. This one I'm going to use a tea strainer for to keep these bits of toasted coconut out. Whew! Okay. All right. This one just smells less coconut-like. It smells a little like gasoline. But delicious gasoline. Ooh, yeah. It definitely doesn't smell as coconutty as the oil wash. So, no idea how it will taste different. All right, I'm going to have to taste this coconut that's been sitting. I have a feeling it's not going to taste so great. Let's try this. This is a terrible idea. Maybe don't do that. Don't recommend. Okay. So with this one, also a bit of a color change. Not quite as dramatic as with the oil, but it certainly isn't as clear as it was out of the bottle. Okay. Time to taste. We're going to start with the toasted coconut infusion. Okay, now that it's had a minute, it doesn't smell like quite the punch in the face that it did when I first opened the jar. All right, let's give this a little swirl around the glass. Yeah, it smells good. Woo. Okay. I'm not getting a ton of coconut. I can smell it a bit. I can taste it a little bit. You definitely have the bite of the rye. And remember, I use that Lead Slinger's rye for this. It tastes... God, I almost feel like it intensified the rye flavor. The coconut is very, very subtle with this. It's good, but super subtle. All right, let's try the coconut oil wash or fat wash. I just feel like this one's gonna taste more strongly of coconut. It certainly smells more strongly of coconut. Oh, God. This smells good. Yeah, it definitely smells stronger of coconut. Oh, okay. At least in this experiment, the coconut oil wash has a more distinctive and intense coconut flavor than the toasted coconut infusion. Neither one of them is overpowering with the coconut flavor. It's very subtle. I almost think this could have standed to sit in the freezer a little bit longer, much like when I did the bacon washed bourbon. But that's really, really, really good. The nose in the beginning is delightful. My verdict, definitely go with the oil washed for the most coconut flavor. But don't you worry, this is going to get used too. It's delicious. Part of that is because the original rye I used was really, really good. So if you enjoyed this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos on cocktails, and stay tuned because I've got a cocktail coming up with this coconut rye that's going to be outrageous. Cheers, friends. Oh, God damn, that's good. Well, there goes my afternoon.